So let's talk now about how the world is different today, Pete, from the last time. Last time in 2007, 2008, when our steel was forged. I like to think of all this stuff. So how does it look different? What's changed? And again, just to contextualize it, you and I both know, but for the one guy who's listening doesn't know my background, we were selling a lot of notes for banks. I think that's how you and I met, actually. I was selling non-performing notes for banks, and the bank itself had that authority to sell a loan if it wanted to at a loss. And a buyer could buy it and then basically stood in the shoes of the bank. With CMBS, tell me how the world looks a bit different from the way it did last time.
So I think, what we were doing, back in those days while the banks were being closed down and banks were worried about being closed down, a good option for them was to sell the loan, which made more sense than to foreclose and take on real estate. The problem, I think, back then, and what created all of this was that, one, there were lenders lending money that had no business lending on certain properties they just didn't know about. So they were creating bad loans. I mean, most of the loans that we worked out from the FDIC were all that kind of fit in that area where that bank didn't know enough to be lending like that, and they didn't underwrite it correctly. And so, they were just giving money to anyone because they were hoping that they could sell it down the line. The community banks shouldn't be generating and selling loans like a bigger bank should. I mean, that's one of the criticisms. So back then, there was a lot of loans being made that shouldn't have been made. And then somehow some of those ended up into CMBS issuances because of the sausage maker mentality. They were just throwing them back in. So that's what was going on then. I think now both bank lenders and CMBS lenders were much more careful about what they were putting into the mix. So they were, the underwriting got a little more stringent. They were making sure that these were good borrowers, making sure they were well guaranteed, all that kind of stuff, which wasn't happening before. I mean, in the last, market upturn before 2007, it was just, if you put a mirror under your nose and you saw saw that they were alive, you'd give them a couple $1 million. That's not happening anymore. So hopefully any downturn will be a lot more smooth. But just like any uptick in the market, there's going to be some carelessness, I think. And people forget so easy. It's like a woman having a baby. They forget what the pain was and they want to have another baby. It's not different. I mean, these lenders forget what that pain was like because they get so caught up in the euphoria of the lending craze.
I think that's a common fault for all. I think it's why we have cycles. It's very easy to forget the bad times, right? And just enjoy the good times.